I sense an evil, dark presence among us.
Yeah, she's standing right next to you.
Spirits are high with Cheech Marin and Rita Moreno.
Are you my grandma Dolores?
No, I'm Beetlejuice.
And all new Lopez versus Lopez, January 6th on NBC. The Wheel 2-week holiday event continues. Spin the wheel!
You know the answer?
Everyone is wrong.
Guess I'm bad luck.
This New Year's Eve will be the party of the year. Dancing, singing till our voices are gone, staying out all night.
Ain't that what you do every night?
That's what you do every night, Miss Golly. Join us December 31st live on NBC and streaming on Peacock.
What's your name, please?
My name is Archie Williams.
I'm Christina Ray.
My name is Terry Fader.
Competition like this brings out the best in people. And this was you at your very, very best.
Weather Watch 12. Weather from where you live.
Straight ahead, the suspect believed to have robbed a central Wisconsin store on Christmas Eve was arrested today. We'll tell you how authorities brought him into custody. Plus, a recently issued grant is helping the Lac du Flambeau tribe with internet coverage. We'll tell you how they plan to put it to use. And the Packers have clawed their way back into the playoff picture. We'll have the details on that as your local news starts right now.
News Watch 12 with Dan Hagan and Conrad Sapinski.
Good evening and welcome to News Watch 12 at 6. I'm Dan Hagan. The man who robbed a gas station in Taylor County on Christmas Eve is now in custody. At around 6 p.m. Saturday, the Taylor County Sheriff's Office received a 911 call reporting an armed robbery at the Cenex gas station in the village of Gilman. The suspect was armed with a handgun that he pointed at the clerk while demanding money. The suspect then exited the store with the money and was seen leaving the scene on foot. On December 25th, Christmas Day, a search warrant was conducted on the suspect's home in the village of Gilman. As a result, 36-year-old Tommy Lee Wilkes was arrested and taken into custody for the robbery. Well, Conrad, I am just waiting and waiting for this cold weather snap to end.
Yes, exactly, and it's about to end, Dan.
Right.
You're in luck. But yeah, it's easy to find all these criminals with all that snow out there. Just follow the footsteps, right?
Good idea. I don't know if they thought of that. That's pretty good. Yeah,
think about that. And taking a look outside right now, we have 13 inches of snow on the ground. So lots of snow in the area and a lot more the more north you go. All across Wisconsin, we have a pretty solid snow depth. And that's because all that cold air all across the country. Look at Jacksonville, 38 degrees right now. They were below freezing yesterday. So very cold temperatures. Miami had its coldest Christmas pretty much on record. That's how cold it was. Even Florida got a taste of the cold weather. Highs today, a bit better than what we had the last several days when we were well below 0 degrees. We were hovering around 15 here in town today, 14 in Eagle River. Look at Wausau, though, 19, so this close of reaching 20 degrees, and they haven't seen that in almost a week. Mostly cloudy skies right now. We had a couple of flurries in the morning hours. Overall, lots of cloud cover. We did have a little low pressure system moving across the area. This was mostly closer to Chicago and Madison area, and even Kentucky and Tennessee got in on a little bit of snow. For us, though, tonight, it's going to get cold. Temperatures, once again, will be hovering near 0 degrees, as the feels-like temperature will be close to 10 below 0. Dan?
Internet is much more of a necessity than a luxury now, and some Northwoods areas continue to struggle with connection. But a major grant should pave the way for faster speeds inside a local Indian reservation. The Lac du Flambeau area has been struggling with poor internet service for years, sometimes receiving bandwidth speeds less than 25 megabits per second. Chief Operations Officer Dion Reynolds says this is something that affects everyone.
But with the platforms and everything running around, the streaming and all the different things you do on the internet right now, those types of platforms just won't provide enough bandwidth for that to function correctly.
However, with a $25 million grant from the U.S. Department of Commerce, the tribe plans to build an independent broadband system to help boost connection speeds, helping residents like Sheldon Williams.
I know for the business that I work at, I know it's going to be phenomenal because we'll be able to handle a lot more influx of hopefully business, but I think that it will greatly affect our community for the better.
This project is expected to take up to 4 years, and the overall goal is to provide over 2,300 households in the area with faster internet speeds. A 54-year-old Merrill man is in trouble for damaging a mailbox and not telling anyone about it. Just before 5 p.m., a deputy responded to a report of a mailbox being struck and damaged on County Road E in the nearby town of Harding. The investigating deputy found a license plate right next to the mailbox and contacted the owner of the car. The registered owner admitted to striking the mailbox after being run off the road by another motorist and said he was unaware he was required to report the incident. As a result, the man will be cited for failure to report to law enforcement and hit and run causing property damage. We're learning more details about a crash last week. Highway 51 southbound was reduced to one lane for over an hour on December 21st following a multi-vehicle crash. Deputies responded to the crash shortly before 2 p.m. near Merrill. The investigation indicated a white SUV lost control, causing a chain reaction of rear-end collisions with 2 other vehicles. A 4th vehicle attempted to avoid the other 3 vehicles, but left the roadway and entered the ditch. The 4 vehicles involved in the crash were severely damaged, but no injuries were reported. Health officials in Wisconsin are hoping to get more people vaccinated. COVID-19 bivalent booster rates fell short of the goals ahead of the holiday season. 2 variants of the Omicron virus only recently emerged, but they now account for nearly 70% of the infections nationwide. Wisconsin's chief medical officer for communicable diseases says a good goal for booster rates for those 65 and older would be at least 80%, but only about 42% of that group have received their updated boosters in the state. Vaccines for both COVID and influenza are available at most pharmacies and local health departments. If you've ever wanted to learn how to skate, now might be the time. The Rhinelander Ice Arena has opened skate hours this week, and a recent donation means more people can take part. Over 150 new pairs of ice skates are available thanks to a donation.
We have both hockey skates and figure skates in sizes as small as little kids toddler 8 all the way up to adult 13.
The donation came from Dr. Bob and Sue Aylesworth, longtime supporters of Rhinelander skaters. Prior to the donation, the rink relied on donated used equipment for rentals. The new skates are better quality and make it possible for the ice arena to host larger groups of people.
We're looking to branch out a little more like that and have schools come with these skates because we finally are equipped to do so we can get more kids on the ice and see if they like hockey or figure skating.
The ice arena is holding open skate hours from 12 to 2 p.m. every day this week. A full listing of open skate times can be found on the Rhinelander Ice Arena website. The year is wrapping up, and many will be making financial resolutions for 2023. Experts say don't wait until January 1st to pin down those money moves. Jen Sullivan has 5 things financial experts recommend you do now to set yourself up for financial success next year.
Before you ring in the new year, how about reining in your 2023 finances?
You want to be able to have your ducks in a row. You want to have your finances organized.
After a year of historic inflation, rising interest rates, and growing recession fears, this duo of financial experts say now is the perfect time to reflect on your spending and plan for the future.
Prioritize paying off high interest rate debt, bulking up your emergency fund.
If improving your finances is one of your 2023 resolutions, here are 5 money moves to consider these final days of the year. 1. Look ahead and decide which big purchases you'd like to make next year. Then create a plan to afford that new car, house, or trip.
Making sure that you are building all of that into your budget is going to be number 1.
2. Look back at your expenses and figure out what worked and what didn't. 3. Tackle that lingering debt. Either pay it off now and avoid dragging it into next year, or come up with a plan to pay it off in 2023.
We see the feds raising the rates on interest, and so things like credit card debt, personal loans, anything that has a variable interest rate is going to cost you more.
4. Boost your emergency fund. Figure out the most scaled back amount you need in order to get by month to month.
That's going to include housing. It's going to include basic food and groceries, not a lot of dining out.
And 5, decide how much you'll invest next year and in what.
Just make sure that you're earmarking money for investing that you are not going to need for at least the next 10 years.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
A small plane crashed into a lake just outside of Washington, D.C. today. Coming up after the break, we'll tell you the story of the miraculous rescue. That's after weather with Conrad, right here on Newswatch 12.
Get up to 80% off list prices during our huge inventory reduction sale at Slumberland Furniture. $20 million worth of furniture and mattresses must go. Lowest prices around on recliners, sofas, mattresses, and lots more. Slumberland Furniture.
The holidays are for making memories, and you can count on Honda to help you make them. Whether it's in a capable Ridgeline, adventurous CRV, a rugged Passport, or a dynamic Pilot. Start making memories of your own with a new Honda during Happy Honda Days. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or visit your local Honda dealer today.
Uh-oh. Did your holiday hosting create a couple extra stains in your carpet? Or do you just need an update for your old flooring? Come to Carpet City Flooring Center and start your year off right with free carpet installation. That's right, free carpet installation. If money is a little tight, Carpet City Flooring Center can help make your project affordable with interest-free financing. Get your free carpet installation today.
Carpet City, our prices will floor you.
Start the new year off right during the final days of the Ford Shine Bright sales event. Don't miss your chance to choose from a great selection of new Ford vehicles in stock and ready for delivery. Or place a custom order, lock in your rate, and you're protected. Plus, new inventory is still arriving daily, so you could drive one home today. This season, choose Flex Buy on a 2022 Escape or Edge SUV and get 0% financing for 66 months at your local Ford dealer and shine bright.
Up to 80% off list prices during our huge inventory reduction sale at Slumberland Furniture. $20 million worth of merchandise must go. Lowest prices around on mattresses, rugs, bar stools, sectionals, accent chairs, and more at Slumberland Furniture.
And welcome back. It's a Monday. Christmas is behind us now. Now we look forward to the new year. But winter has just started pretty much. Our official day of winter was just 4 days ago. And we already have 34.5 inches of snowfall this year. So we are well above our average for this time of year. And pretty much same thing last year when we had around 34.7 inches of snow this time around. There's a little bit more on the way. This week, though, it's going to be a bit more of a wintry mess as temperatures continue to rise. Right now, we have mostly cloudy skies all across the area right now. We did have a little low-pressure system pretty much down south here. A couple of flurries, especially overnight. In Chicago, though, they had some snow. Kentucky, Tennessee also got in on some snow. So it was a white Christmas for a lot of us. Tomorrow, though, not so much snow. It's more going to be of a wintry mix moving in, especially in the afternoon hours. Tomorrow's will be very light, but as everything is cold and really frozen, it's going to start to stick on everything, that wintry mix. Quickly moving out, though, and then into Wednesday, we're in the clear before another round of wintry mix moves in Wednesday night into Thursday. So very active weather pattern is ahead of us this weekend into the weekend, as we're going to get rounds and rounds of some lighter wintry precipitation in the area, some rain, some sleet, some freezing rain, and also a little bit of snow in the area into Thursday, Friday, and then over the weekend, temperatures will be a little bit colder, so that's going to support a little bit more of that snow falling from the sky, especially Saturday into Sunday. Temperatures right now, though, are cold. Take a look at all these temperatures, well below our average for this time of year. Even Green Bay is in close to 10 degrees out there, 9 degrees here in town, 7 in Tomahawk, so bring out those layers because it is cold, well below our average. We should be hovering at around 25 degrees as a high this time of year. Our lows should be around 7 degrees, and this was pretty much our high for the day. But look at 1990, though, 25 degrees below zero. Yeah, that is shivering cold. No, none of that type of temperatures out here just yet, but January is right around the corner. But right before that happens, we're going to warm up, folks. So right around New Year's time frame, we'll be hovering at around 32 degrees. But look at Thursday into Friday, some mid-30s. So a little bit of that snow will be melting. I'm a big snow lover, so it's not the best news for us, especially the snowmobilers, as the trails just opened up. They were nice and groomed. Now it's going to be time to re-up and really get those trails fixed, as all that rain, that sleet, freezing rain, all that slush and above average temperatures will make it a mess. Wind's not a big issue right now. They will start to pick up the next couple of days. Wind gusts close to 25 miles an hour, but temperatures are going to continue to rise. So that's not going to be the biggest issue for us, especially that feels like temperature. Tonight, though, that's going to be another cold one. Temperatures hovering close to 0 degrees. Mostly cloudy skies, calm winds all across. Tomorrow, though, winds start to pick up, light wintry mix in the area, especially in the afternoon hours. Temperatures, though, are going to be cold still. 18 degrees, a lot warmer than what we had the last week, though, but still well below average. Our 7-day outlook, brought to you by Northwoods Furniture and Mattress, does show an active weather pattern ahead of us right in time for the new year. Dan?
A small plane crashed into icy water in Maryland this morning. Officials say the pilot was the only person on board the plane. Thankfully, 2 kayakers were able to reach the crash site quickly and pull the pilot out of the frozen water. That probably saved his life.
Miraculously and heroically, the 2 kayakers were the ones that were able to get to that pilot very quickly and pull him kind of up onto the kayak enough out of that water until DNR could get there and take him all the way to shore.
The pilot was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the crash is under investigation. Days of cold weather in South Florida are out of the ordinary. So much so that it has manatees gathering in warm water near a power plant. As Caleb Califano reports, people are taking the opportunity of seeing these manatees up close and in person.
Braving the cold this morning, people from across the Palm Beaches came to see one of the ocean's most gentle creatures.
They're like big lumps.
What do they look like?
Giant eggs.
Big lumps, giant eggs, sea cows, whatever you want to call them. More than 30 were outside Manatee Lagoon this morning in West Palm Beach. This cold snap is one of the few times a year you can see them up close and personal. Manatees need warmer water to stay healthy and alive. With the lagoon being right next to the FPL power plant, the warm water coming from there makes it the perfect spot for the manatees to gather.
It does take a few days in a row of cold weather to draw the manatees here to Manatee Lagoon, but today is a great opportunity to finally see them, especially if you've never seen one before. So many people new to Florida have not.
We're really excited to learn more about them and the conservation efforts that are happening for these amazing creatures.
A car in Minnesota is causing quite a stir online. After the break, we will uncover the mystery behind this snowbank car.
Get started on your next project now at Menards. Create your dream bathroom with Sterling bathroom products to fit your style and budget. Like this Sterling Ensemble shower. Its durable, high-gloss finish provides lasting beauty. Save big on Sterling products. Put the finishing touches on your kitchen or bathroom with Moen. Add a modern touch with the matte black Mica bath faucet. Get it for only $99.99 now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Surprise! It's a new Buick.
You got me a new Buick?
Oh, and there are more gifts inside.
You got me the head-up display.
Wow! It's a massaging seat.
Okay, what next? Alexa, turn on holiday lights.
This year, give the gift of technology in every Buick SUV.
It's the holidays. Get 3.99% APR and no monthly payments for 90 days on these Buick SUV models. Visit your North Central Wisconsin Buick dealer.
If you're a contractor or do-it-yourselfer, make Argonne Lumber your first stop. High-quality materials, personalized service, expert staff, and delivery are just some of the things Argonne Lumber is known for. Stop in and smell the lumber at Argonne Lumber, 2 locations in Argonne and Rhinelander.
Stay on top of breaking news and the biggest stories of the day with NBC News Daily. Get in-depth reporting from across the country and around the world. Tips to take care of your health and your wallet. And up-to-the-minute local news. NBC News Daily. Weekdays on NBC.
Menke Automotive is your new neighbor in central Wisconsin. So now you've got a friend in the auto business. Menke Automotive prides ourselves on having happy employees because happy employees make for happy customers. When you need a new Buick, GMC, or Mazda, expert service, precision body work, or just a hot cup of coffee, come in and get to know us at Menke Automotive at the old Fred Miller location on Grand Avenue in Schofield. Menke Automotive, your new neighbors in central Wisconsin.
Newswatch 12's Dan Hagan, Jessica Jukic, and meteorologist Jeff Weller bring you the news and weather of the North Woods. Alongside the Newswatch 12 team, they are committed to the community and ensuring the local stories make headlines. The Newswatch 12 team works hard to deliver the most important news from where you live, as well as local weather reports. Watch Dan, Jessica, and Jeff weeknights on WJFW NBC 12.
A lot of things had to bounce the right way for the Packers to improve their playoff chances. Not only did Green Bay take care of business, but every other game went their way. The Packers made the most of 4 turnovers by the Dolphins on Sunday to win 26-20. Green Bay's offense had a middling day with only 301 total yards. Running back Aaron Jones says the defense is why the Packers are still alive in the playoff hunt.
Just our defense, they stepped up. We always believe in each other. We always have faith. And we told them, come on, we need to stop. We need to stop. And they went out there and got a stop. So, that's what great defenses do.
The Packers host Minnesota on Sunday. If they win then and in Week 18 against the Lions, they can make the playoffs if one of 2 things happen. The Commanders lose once or the Giants lose twice. A car wedged in a South Minneapolis snowbank has gotten some viral attention. By Christmas Day, however, it appears it has finally been moved. But it still begs the question, how did it get there? And more importantly, how did they get it out?
Honestly, it just seems like something that was kind of representative of our day.
Unbelievable.
It's in there.
I just wonder how it got there.
Oh, yeah. This one's curious.
But I've never in my life seen anything like this, and I grew up here.
Best I can figure is maybe a plow came through.
Was there a car accident and it went off the road?
Either that or they skidded on something. It really puzzles you.
There's been some unbelievable things going on.
It's almost like somebody must have picked it up.
Could be an alien, a UFO. There could be something out there.
You never know.
There's just no, hypothesis, because it just appeared in the early hours of the morning. Here's that toasted marshmallow latte. It's more of a spectacle. People are just, looking at it, because it's bizarre.
Temperature is -9, wind chill at -4.
Why are you taking a picture of this?
Because it's hilarious. You do anything in this time of year to get through the day and have a good time.
People say it's kind of like a tourist attraction.
Hey, I'm telling you, I rolled past and I seen about 4 or 5 people making videos.
That tells our story right there. So if you're far away and you're wondering, what would it be like to live in Minneapolis? This is it right here.
The winter sun. It's a ticking clock where shorter days mean a precious countdown has begun. So chase the sun and seize the season, because when the days are at their shortest, it's on us to make them the fullest.
Get 4.39% APR for 60 months on most 2023 Cadillac models. Visit O'Malley Cadillac in Wausau or Rhinelander Cadillac in Rhinelander.
Northland Basement Systems is the all things basementy company. Basement waterproofing, basement finishing, basement structural repair, humidity and mold control, and nasty crawl spaces too. When it comes to basement solutions, nobody does it better than we do. Since 1991, homeowners just like you in the Northland have trusted Northland Basement Systems for all things basementy in their homes. Call Northland Basement Systems today to schedule a free home evaluation.
This New Year's Eve will be the party of the year. Dancing, singing till our voices are gone, staying out all night.
Ain't that what you do every night?
That's what you do every night, Miss Dolly. Join us December 31st live on NBC and streaming on Peacock.
What's your name, please?
My name is Archie Williams.
I'm Christina Ray.
My name is Terry Fader. Competition like this brings out the best in people. And this was you at your very, very best.
It's the huge New Year's Eve balloon sale for 3 big days at Lakeland Furniture and Mattress in Minocqua. This huge sale starts Friday, December 30th and runs through Sunday, January 1st. Make your purchase and pop a balloon to reveal your savings up to 88% off in honor of Elmer's birthday.
On Jeopardy!
It's been quite a year for us here at the show. A thrilling debut of our Second Chance competition, moving right into a mind-blowing Tournament of Champions. Jimmy Snyder is now our Tournament of Champions winner. It's also been quite a year for Super Champions. Chris Panulo now ranks in the top 5 all-time for Jeopardy winnings.
Now, this week on Jeopardy, can current champ Ray Lalonde become a Super Champ too?
Everybody's off and running, Ray.
Well, let's do a true daily double then.
Jeopardy! Weekdays at 4:30 on NBC 12.
The Northwoods provides plenty of beauty year-round, and the weather events that develop can produce some amazing photos. Submit yours online at WJFW's weather photo section on the website to share with the WJFW weather team.
So, Conrad, I was feeling kind of strangely comfortable outside today, but really it was only, 10, 15 degrees. It's just been so brutal lately that in comparison, it feels nice.
Yeah, especially it feels like temperature. We were at like 35 below, and today, not so much. Maybe around like 5 degrees. But overall, it was a very cold Christmas. Today, that's that rebounding in temperatures. Miami was in the mid-40s. Now they're in the 50s, and we're going to continue to thaw out pretty much across the country. So get ready. Warmer weather will be arriving starting, let's say, Wednesday, when 30s start to move back into the region. Right now, we're hovering in those single digits still, so it is still chilly out there. Layer up, but another low-pressure system will be moving in. It's brewing in the west right now. It's going to bring feet of snow in the mountains there. For us, though, it's going to be a very active weather pattern. Look at Thursday and Friday, a balmy 37 degrees. Wow, I feel like I'm in Florida now with those 30s back in the forecast. On New Year's Eve, it's going to get pretty chilly, starting to go back down.
Well, if it feels warm now, it's going to be really warm.
Really warm by then.
All right, thanks for joining us on Newswatch 12 at 6. We'll see you back here at 10.
Mr. Food Test Kitchen is brought to you by Golden Carrot Jewelers and Creative Kitchen and Bath Studio.
I hope you had a Merry Christmas.